These days, a wander through Pat and Tom Ellison's garden finds lots of surprises. Over the years, they've added and amended since they hauled their first load of soil or turned their first salvage into garden artistry.
When we were in college, we had baskets and, we played in the nurseries. We liked to visit nurseries. It was one of our Saturday morning activities. So we've always enjoyed gardening.
My grandmother was a big gardener in Wyoming. So me being a project guy, the beauty of gardening, the enjoyment of gardening, bring a smile on your face gardening, the pleasure of gardening, that was what made us want to take it on, in a big way. So this whole idea of rooms, part of it's in us to kind of do that naturally, the same reason we have rooms in a house, I guess. That has a lot to do with different views, different view perspectives.
The front yard, the spot to hang with the neighbors. For a bit of privacy and sound barrier against the side street, they built a cozy flagstone courtyard.
Tom had these rocks delivered, and it was one of the happiest days of his life to have this massive pile of rocks, brought to our house. And he would stay out here until midnight and, work under the moonlight practically, looking at these rocks. And he came in
fun,
having a great time. And he came in and said, "Look, I found the Midwest."
Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio, Michigan, over to Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, and then a friend found Lake Michigan.
Along the side street, privacy panels framed by flowers, like summer blooming thryallis, soften road noise.
We made these fence panels with some architectural interest. We created the amount of screening that we want and pushed the traffic feel a little further away from us.
All they needed were romantic doors.
We'd been looking for a long time because we just needed something, an entry for the patio.
Composing this whole look from the porch. The look from the porch is something we've always worked on.
So that you can, when you stand in the porch and look out here, it's pleasant. And so we stumbled across those doors. They looked pretty rustic. And we brought them home, and Tom worked on them and kind of squared them up a little bit and repaired them and stained them.
Partly to add to the ambience, and mainly because Tom likes to build things, he added a stream and pond waterfall.
Well, Tom's a civil engineer, and I have my theory that civil engineers are kind of like, how border collies have to herd things. Civil engineers need to be playing with water and putting pipes in the ground. He loves to play with running water. He said originally the slope lent itself to a stream, and so he made one.
And then as the porch got going, the story goes that Pat said, "Hey, why don't we have a bigger pond out on the other side of the porch?" And I said, "Yay, I get to build more pond." And I went to forming the concrete, built the forms, got my son-in-law and even your father helped move that big rock.
Between the sunlit areas, the stream follows a secretive path to unite each destination. This is where the fairies live. In front, but still shielded from the street, Tom built a patio nook to toast the pond after hours. Pat and Tom's creative eye spot a good scavenge as quickly as a new plant to try. To give the pond its own room, rustic fencing backs an encircling border. A tidy edging sets things off. Tom personalized his by forming concrete molds and ornamenting them with rocks he's collected.
Tom always will go for the flowering plant first, and so I have to speak up very loudly for the non-flowering plants. Tom likes a lot of variety. I like single plant, multiple times, mass planting. I like gray greens and dark greens and blue greens, and Tom likes flowers.
A flower can put a pretty big smile on your face. So can a good mass planting.
Rather than carved rooms in front, they kept the expansive view, where a stroll takes you to each distinctive garden. Visitors always include pollinators eager for nectar, pollen, and shelter. Succulents, cannas, and flowering perennials overlook the daylilies that spurred another passion. After visiting an Austin Daylily Society show and sale one May, Tom was hooked on the countless varieties that structure up with evergreen foliage and dazzle with late spring blooms.
We went to the show And I guess I fell in love with the idea of really going with more daylilies.
Deer love them too, so Tom went back into the fencing business, but gave it an open view and entrance arbor to continue the neighborly connection. With a keen recognition of engineering behind sculptural objects, including those off the usual grid, Tom gives new purpose and artistic expression to the most ordinary items.
Gardeners are always putting stuff together, and you just can't help yourself almost, and found objects and all that. But your father's wrenches, George's wrenches, was the full sculpture we made that we're going, oh, this is a garden sculpture. And then I've made about a dozen since then.
We keep saying he needs to go take a welding class so he can learn to weld, but mostly he ends up with glue and tying stuff together. So
A lot of epoxy. I don't weld yet. I guess going back to my card building days, I got my hands on a 49 Plymouth grill, and then the tall chrome one, made from car parts, is just, I guess, more of my car guy stuff. You talk about switching from being a car guy to a gardener. Well, I had a bunch of car parts. You collect found objects because they just have so much character in them, and then you wait for them to express themselves.
But Tom's learned that the primary secret to garden success lies with soil engineering.
I used to be a skimper. It's fun to realize, okay, what are the basic elements of gardening? And so I made my list this year. There's 14 on my list, from climate to culture.
And that means good granular soil he brings in and compost he makes himself from yard trimmings. From flowers to tomatoes, it's the magic natural plant food.
That good soil with regular compost means that now, I'm a real gardener now.
Tom works hours and hours and hours on this, and I get to have parties because Tom's created all these beautiful garden rooms.